century. I have to go back to the beginning and see where the evidence leads organically and naturally. And so where I began was the Apostolic Fathers. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to read any church father after the 2nd century. I'm only going to go to the 2nd century and those church fathers in the 1st century. And man, that rocked my world. I mean, Clement of Rome, in his letter, 1 Clement, now dated by scholars to before 70 AD, before the destruction of the temple, before the Gospel of Matthew was written, maybe around the time the Gospel of Mark was written, saying, talking about the importance of the office of bishop, and talking about, for instance, in chapter 44, verse 1 to 3, our apostles knew through our Lord Jesus Christ that strife would arise over the office of bishop, and therefore, having received perfect foreknowledge, they afterwards appointed those already mentioned. And afterwards, they added a codicil or a rule to the effect that if these men should die, other approved men should succeed to their ministry. Apostolic succession. And then I started looking on issues related to, Ignatius of Antioch, talking about don't do anything apart from the bishop. And I'm like, wait a minute, where's my bishop? And looking at these guys weren't just like random, Christians in the early centuries. These were men who are mentioned by name by the apostles, like Clement in Philippians 4:3, or men who knew the apostles personally. And as I had learned from Protestant scholars like Craig S. Keener in his book Christobiography, these memories of these men are so early that they are historically reliable. I can't just dismiss them because I've already theologically said I'm Protestant. I have to hold my Protestant faith at that moment to the standard of evidence. And I remember too, as a Protestant, I'd go out evangelize, I'd try to convince people. But now it was time for the Catholics to evangelize to me. It was time for me to get a taste of my own medicine, right? And see if my own convictions could survive the test. And what I found was that they did not.